Logan City's 101 FM.
You can always tell when we've enjoyed having a guest because we invite them back into the studio, and that's exactly what we've got this morning with the delightful Sveti Williams, who is an expert on all things to do with sleep. Welcome back.
Hello, Mike. Thanks for having me back.
And of course, it was a good week for you last week. You were involved in World Sleep Day. Tell me about that.
Yes, I became an official delegate for World Sleep Day, and Mike, I was so busy, I nearly got sleep deprived myself.
Well, that's no good if you're there about World Sleep Day, really, is it?
Absolutely.
So tell us what happened, what went on, what kind of stuff did you learn?
Yes, once I became the delegate, I put myself under pressure to perform. So I presented this presentation at a public school here in Brisbane, and for 350 children to educate them on the importance of sleep. It's just a primary school, but kids, there was such a delightful day. Yeah, the kids were just beautiful to present to and involved, and they actually knew a lot about sleep already, and it was such an interactive workshop. It was such a pleasure to perform that. And I was interviewed by Deakin University in Melbourne. I also was on interview on the radio in Melbourne as well. So a lot happened in the last week, and yes, it was very exciting for me.
Very exciting indeed. And one of the things we were chatting about off air is about sleep deprivation, and you got some amazing statistics of how much money is lost every single year because people just not getting enough sleep.
Absolutely, Mike. The statistics are absolutely shocking. So it costs U.S. economy $411 billion a year to have people sleep deprived on jobs. And also, that's not just it. What else it's causing? Basically, it sends people to early grave. So people swapping slumber for early grave.
Wow. And I've got an unfortunate story that I can tell you about. A friend of ours sadly was involved in a road traffic accident. He lost his life. The other driver fell asleep at the wheel, and she had not slept for 30 hours. And she went to work. She got out of work early that day, got in a car and drove, and ended up, and she died as well, unfortunately. But she would have gone to prison for that because, lack of sleep, I'm guessing, is just every bit as bad as getting behind the wheel drunk or on substance abuse or whatever.
Absolutely, Mark. It's worse for our body to be sleep deprived than actually being drunk.
Yeah.
And when we are drunk and sleep deprived, Mike, just like you mentioned, it could be just ending fatalities like that.
What made you get interested in this? What sort of got you really sort of sparked up and thought, I want to learn a little bit more about this?
Well, basically, when I was suffering from not being able to sleep and I was becoming ill, it got me that interest in fixing my own sleep. And then I discovered that a lot of people suffered as well. So when people suffered, I began researching. And once I understood the data and how dangerous it is not to sleep, my message became. I wanted to kind of spread my message more to kind of larger audience. So this year, my message is for the school children and more businesses to get people to have more sleep so they can work sufficiently, so children can study, because 70% of teenagers don't get enough sleep, and that results in risky behavior such as craving the junk food, moodiness, physical fighting, basically those activities that are not basically for children, for teenagers.
And it's a vicious circle, isn't it? Because they're not getting enough sleep, they're a bit grumpy the next day, and as you say, and a lot of the problem, and we talk about social media all the time, but the teenagers, they're not going to bed, they're on the mobile phones, they're catching up on Facebook and whatever, and before you know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, they've got to be up again for school. How can you break that cycle?
Well, it's just, there have to be some boundaries set in place. Basically, some children, yes, they stay on the phone, but then they can't sleep. If they just turn the phone off and go to sleep immediately, that could give them more sleep. But because they're so wired up inside, and so even for little kids as well at school, there's so much going on, so much excitement at home, mobile phones, tablets, TV, everything, it's so exciting. They just can't wire down, kind of come down and go to sleep. So it's basically for parents to create the atmosphere at home so they can go to sleep.
And, if you think back to when, if parents have got babies, for example, you have a bedtime routine, you bath them, and then you read them a story, or you play soft music to them. All of that seems to go out the window when they hear about 9 or 10, because kids don't want to be, have stories read to them. You were saying that you did this chat in a school. How did you keep the attention of all those young people?
Actually, I was very nervous, but when I got there, children were just absolutely beautiful to work with. So what I've done a very interactive workshop. I asked them a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I asked questions that they answered yes to every question. They just wanted to be involved in that. So I made it really colorful presentation. We did kind of like a kid's language, and they can download the copy on my website actually for that presentation, svetiwilliams.com. So it was very interactive. Children loved it. They just really like that buzz. 350 children are just buzzing
that's
in the room.
Because you know what? I mean, I've done presentations in schools and whatever, and if you go down well, it's great. If not, it's the most frightening thing. A bunch of school kids, my goodness me. One of the things that we're going to be talking about this morning, and I can't even pronounce it. I know the second word, rhythm. You can say it.
Circadian rhythm.
See, it's easy for you to say.
It is now, yes.
What is that?
Basically, it's our internal body clock that runs on a 24-hour cycle, and it controls our nightly and daily cycles. Basically, if your circadian rhythm is right, you can sleep. But once it's off, you suffer. It's not just the sleep that suffers, also our appetite, our hormonal system. A lot of systems in the body suffer because of our circadian rhythm is out of balance.
So what are the sort of tips? I mean, let's take one example. I travel a lot and cross countries. Sometimes I have jet lag and, you're wide awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're fast asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What can you do to get yourself back into rhythm again?
Yes, what you can do, basically adjust to the local time. Try to go to bed when it's dark. Don't sleep during the day. Avoid the daytime naps. Wake up in the morning, go straight, look at the sun. Spend time in that bright light, natural light as you get up in the morning. And then try to stay in bed. Try to sleep as much as you can. Deep breathing. Implement those methods that help you relax and sleep at night. Don't sleep during the day. Don't go to bed too early or too late. As soon as you get that kind of urge to go to sleep, do so.
And it's really hard because I know, and a lot depends on what time of day you fly as well. I find it easier when I'm going from here back to the UK. If I do a night flight here and then arrive in the evening in the UK, straight to bed, bang, fine, no jet lag. When you arrive at 6 a.m. at Heathrow and you've got to try and stay awake all day, that's really hard.
It's very difficult, and everyone is different. Everyone takes it differently as well. For some people, it takes quite a long time to get adjusted to the local time. So basically, implementing that relaxation during the night is such an important part, getting your body to go to sleep and you're switching off your mind. Actually, I just developed this program. People can download for free on my website, svetiwilliams.com, and they just learn how to switch the mind off, and they can take it with them anywhere they go and implement that. Because
it is hard. I know a lot of our listeners, especially ones that are slightly older listeners, they suffer from insomnia. They really do struggle to get over at night. And, they might go to bed at 9, 9:30, midnight, they're wide awake. What can they do? If they're lying in bed, you're wide awake, and your mind starts playing tricks on you, how can you get back into that regular sleep pattern?
Yes, again, properly winding down at night, it helps. Having relaxation tea, sleep tea, just to calm down the nervous system. Also switching off that brain, the chatter, the ruminating, all these thoughts or like last time we spoke about, those unnecessary thinking.
Totally, I
Absolutely.
know. But everything's worse at 3 o'clock. I mean, here's my example. One of the neighbours has just got 2 new dogs. And of course, like most people around here, they just leave the dogs outside to bark all night. So 3 o'clock in the morning, their dogs have woken my dog up. That was it, everybody up. And you think about things at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they seem far more serious than they do at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that's really hard.
Very hard, yes. So basically, just find how your brain switches off totally. Find that method. When I teach, again, in this program that I give to people for free, it teaches them how to switch that brain off. Switch it off and you can sleep all night. And then once you wake up at night, in the middle of the night, you can still do that.
Yeah. See, I'm hoping that Paul Barrett, the breakfast show guy, is listening to this because his brain is switched off most of the day, you see. So I reckon he's got no problem sleeping at all. Obviously, you've mentioned your website. I'm guessing that people can find you on Facebook as well?
Absolutely. Sveti Williams is my name. So they can just Google that name and find me.
Absolutely. Sveti, it's an absolute joy to chat to you. Thank you very much for that. And no doubt you'll be back in here with some more. I mean, these statistics are incredible. But, hopefully if more people just take a little bit of control and think about what they're doing before they go to bed, and don't do what I do and watch Married at First Sight, because if you watch programs like that, you end up talking about it half the night. If you want to know a little bit more, SvetiWilliams.com. That's nice and easy. And if not, you can always give us a call here, 3808.